These next two problems, it says factor completely, and so these actually are going to require more than one factoring step. We first want to factor out a common factor, and then we'll factor what's remaining. For this one, we see that there is a 2. All these are divisible by 2. So we're going to factor out a 2. So all these, what goes in the parentheses, would be after we divide out a 2. So 2x squared divided by 2 is x squared. Negative 40 divided by 2 is negative 20x. 200 divided by 2 is 100. So now that would be factored after we take the common factor out. This is what we have left. Now the part inside, we want to factor another time. Now this is actually one where we could factor this by using the perfect square trinomial formula, if you recognize it. But if you don't, that's okay, because it doesn't actually tell us that we have to specifically use that perfect square trinomial formula. We could just use regular factoring methods on this. So that's what we're going to do on this one. There's an x and an x to get x squared. You want to look for two numbers that multiply to make 100, but add to be 20. And that is going to be 10 and 10. Now, of course, both of them would have to be negative because you want the middle term to be negative. Negative 10 times negative 10 is positive 100, but you add them together to make negative 20. Now, one thing for these problems, if you do see a repeated factor like that, you do want to write the answer as a quantity squared. So you do want to simplify that as much as possible. So you would want to do this you definitely want to do the last step, 2 times the quantity, x minus 10, and that's squared. We're going to do the same thing for this next one. This next one, we also have a common factor. The common factor here is going to be a 4. So we're going to divide everything here by 4. 4x squared divided by 4 would just be x squared. 72x divided by 4 would be 18x. 324 divided by 4 is going to be 81. Okay, so that would be the first step, is factoring out the common factor of 4. Again, we want to do another factoring step. This time we're looking for two numbers that multiply to make 81 and add to be 18. That's going to be a 9. So we have 9 and 9. Both of these are going to be plus, since everything else is plus inside the parentheses there. You do want to write this, as I mentioned before, you do want to mention this, write this out as a quantity squared here. So x plus 9 would be x plus 9 quantity squared. So whenever you have a repeated factor like that, you always want to write it as a quantity squared.